Just 9 months after season 4 of Cobra Kai dropped, Netflix has already given us season 5.
Cobra Kai's back, baby!
I've given you the weekend to binge the whole season, so today we're gonna stop and rank all 5 seasons of Cobra Kai from the least best to the best. While I'm sharing my ranking, be sure to share your ranking down below in the comments section. Today's video is brought to you by Magic Spoon. If you're not aware, I'm pretty into fitness. I'm always looking for good tasting options which are high protein and 0 sugar. Magic Spoon is exactly what I've been looking for. Magic Spoon is a great tasting alternative to sugar-filled cereals. They have 0 grams of sugar, 13 or 14 grams of protein depending on the flavor, and only 4 net grams of carbs and 140 calories per serving. But it's not just me that's been enjoying Magic Spoon, it's the whole family.
What's your favorite flavor?
Cocoa.
What do you want?
Blueberry.
You want to eat the blueberry?
Yes. Yummy from the belly.
For me, when I'm watching a movie, I'll pour a cup where I mix cocoa and peanut butter flavors together, and I'll just kind of eat it as a snack. My family first started eating Magic Spoon back in March, and ever since then, anytime we've run out, we have ordered more. We always have Magic Spoon on stock at my house. Magic Spoon is so confident in their product, it's backed with a 100% happiness guarantee. So if you don't like it for any reason, they'll refund your money, no questions asked. Click the link down below to grab a variety pack and try it today. And be sure to use promo code Sean Talks About at checkout to get $5 off any order, or go to magicspoon.com/Sean Talks About. If you're interested in checking out their product, please use the link down below. And let's get started. As a point of reference, I like all 5 seasons of Cobra Kai. I don't think there's been a bad season, but it is a ranking. Something's gotta come in first, something's gotta come in last. Let's get started. Coming in last place is season 2, but as I just said, I enjoy each of the seasons. Every year when the new season drops, I rewatch the entire show. So I've seen season 2 4 times, maybe 5 times now, and I've enjoyed it every single time. It's just as addictive as all the other seasons. The show's so good at creating these misunderstandings, the bad timing that creates the conflict that divides people, and then people overreact to learning something that they didn't quite understand. That's what this show is so good at. Likewise, Daniel and Johnny, the tension between them comes from their character flaws, their shared history where they have different perspectives on it, and they just won't sit down and work through it. Likewise, the addition of Kreese just makes for some nice new tension and conflict on the Cobra Kai side, right as Johnny is starting to question a lot of what he did in the first season.
You still got one thing that's more important than anything, Johnny. You still have time.
And then with all the growing tension between all the teenagers, it leads to this big, gigantic slam bang finale with this massive school final fight that has dire consequences. But since coming out of season 1, there's such a dramatic shift from the Cobra Kai kids being bullied underdogs to turning into bullies themselves and jerks, it kind of creates a situation where just the tone and vibe of this season was off. So much of what I love about most of the seasons of Cobra Kai is that it is about these adult mentors helping these teenagers find confidence and overcome obstacles. And here, that's not really the case because Johnny's become disenfranchised and confused as what he should be doing, and the Cobra Kai kids are these jerks you're not really rooting for anymore. And then the Miyagi-Do, they're kind of in the right direction, but there's not a clear thing that we're moving towards for them to be victorious. So the season as a whole just feels unfocused to me in general. A lot of teenage politics, a lot of love triangles, and that's not the stuff I care about as much in this show, so it doesn't kind of draw me in as much. So it's still very entertaining. There's some solid jokes. It's addictive, but my least favorite season. Next up, season 5. Now this one was a difficult one to place because the highs are so high, but overall, I found the pacing and storytelling to be really uneven. On the positive, it is just as addictive and bingeable as ever. This show is so good at telling stories that are self-contained, But then at the very end, there's some twist, turn, reveal. They introduce something next where you go, oh, I gotta see what's gonna happen. Other thing it did really well is it moved forward a number of plot lines that had kind of been a little bit stagnant. Likewise, stakes are bigger than ever. Terry Silver, I would say, is the best villain of this entire series.
If you continue down this path, nothing in your life will ever be the same again.
Because he is this multi-layered person that really believes in what he's doing and believes the end justifies the means. And he's not just a physical threat, but he's a mastermind and a manipulator. And so it just ratchets up the stakes because he's doing such devious, maniacal things and has the resources to pull it off. And likewise, because of that, it makes the moments of victory so satisfying. When Daniel's about to quit and then Robbie shows up and he's like, you didn't fail me. It's so satisfying. It has big, big emotions. Likewise, it's great to see all three of Daniel's final foes from the original trilogy teaming up to battle Terry Silver. Like, all three of them, that's cool. Getting a little catch up on Mike Barnes and everything, totally dug it. Chosen being Daniel's muscle, very cool. But the season was kind of all over the place. And much like season 2, kind of lost its focus.
You stay focused.
Because at the end of season 4, Miguel leaves to go to Mexico. Johnny decides, all right, I guess I'm done with Eagle Fang. And Daniel decides, I'm going to battle Terry Silver, but I got to take down, disband Miyagi-Do.
As of today, I am shutting down Miyagi-Do Karate.
It just kind of loses that mentor to teenagers dynamic and instead replaces it with, we gotta battle the mastermind. There's also a bunch of uneven storytelling where plot lines kind of disappear for a little bit. You know, Johnny finds out Carmen is pregnant and then 5 episodes go by before we really bring it up again. There's a lot of things like that because there's so many characters, so many plot lines going on, and just kind of felt a bit too over the top. There's always been some of that. This one seemed to go too far for me personally. Daniel's too stupid and easily manipulated in certain points in time. That's frustrating. And one for me that really disappointed me, the usage of Mike Barnes. He disappears until really the finale, shows up in the final finale, ready to fight, and he gets knocked out for the whole fight. I would assume he wasn't available, but that was really disappointing. So a season with a bunch of great moments, but very uneven storytelling that lost a little bit of the focus that I enjoyed about most of the seasons. In third place is season 3, and I felt this was a nice return to form after season 2 had kind of lost some focus. Right off the bat, it does a much better job of making it clear who's good, who's bad, and what we're rooting for. And even amongst the Cobra Kai kids who are being bullies, doing wrong things, we know who we want to have a redemptive arc. And it sets up little moments where characters make the wrong choice, and then it shows little hints that they're heading in the right direction. The other really great thing about this season is the restoration of the focus on the Johnny-Miguel relationship, where after the events of the previous season, there were massive repercussions where Robbie's in prison, Tori's suspended, and Miguel is in the hospital. And so they find a way to be able to give Miguel this kind of, once again, underdog journey that's not just rehashing what it was in the first season. It's not like another bully. No, he's trying to overcome this like horrible, horrible injury. And Johnny, once again, can be that sensei to help him in his truly Johnny way of doing that.
It's all right, you felt like a champ.
Likewise, this is peak Kreese, where he's taking control, and it really gives him his backstory, where he starts to have layers. Up to this point in time, he's pretty been one-dimensional, and we haven't known all that much about him. So it does a series of flashbacks that let us know, like, what made him so hardened the way that he is, and it informs you really nicely. Some great callbacks to the original trilogy, in particular with Ali showing up. There's a few things here that didn't work all that well for me. The big one that stands out every time I rewatch it, as the Vietnam sequences go along, they just get too cartoonish. And when you have Kreese literally doing Mortal Kombat with fatalities over pits of snakes, finish him! It's too cartoonish, and they also don't have the production values. They don't have the budget to actually pull off Vietnam. Likewise, Cobra Kai just goes too far. They've always had a history of cruelty.
Sweep the leg. You have a problem with that?
But here, they're like overtly committing felonies in manners where Dimitri knows who broke his arm. And the police are never involved. And it just strains too much credibility. But overall, a really satisfying season because it's focused. You know who you want to have redemption, who you want to be defeated, and what you want to have happen with Miguel. So it's really satisfying when it does happen. Real quick, before I give you my top 2 seasons, remember to join me down below in the comments section. Let me know your ranking of all 5 seasons of Cobra Kai. My list isn't the right list. It's just my list, and I would love to see yours. Also, I've done a bunch of other Cobra Kai content, as well as a ranking of the Karate Kid movies. You can check all of that out right up here in this playlist when this video is over with, and I've got more Cobra Kai content coming over the next few days. Our runner-up, Season 4. Now, at the end of Season 3, I kind of got nervous about the show because the creators said they were going to do at least 3 more seasons, and with where they left Season 3, I felt like Season 4 could have been a very natural, organic end to the series, and I went in pretty skeptical of Season 4, and then it absolutely knocked it out of the park and delivered so much more and so much better than I was expecting. The big reason for that is that it has such a clear focus on the tournament, and so every character, we're able to explore what they're trying to accomplish in the tournament and why, giving them a clear arc. So when you get to the last 2 episodes, every fight matters because it's the culmination of everyone's character arc, and we understand so much what that fight means to each person and to each side. Likewise, it does a really nice job of balancing the characters and changing up the dynamics a little bit. So Daniel and Johnny are working together. They're training each other. That's interesting. There's a lot of fun that comes with that. And then they have another rematch. Great to see.
Come on, we're gonna get sued here.
Sue me for what?
And just those reversals make for a fun change of dynamics for the show that has a thematic purpose. So much what the season is that there's not one right way, and you need to choose your own path. And the teenagers learned that before the mentors did. So the finale is about the students teaching their teachers.
I just want what's best for Miguel and all of your students.
So now you know what's best for Miguel.
And of course, you just get some great moments with Johnny being Johnny, trying to recruit students.
Teen girls one. Gotta be under 18 or it's a no-go. No, not like that.
And likewise, this is the season that probably best gives Tori layers, makes her sympathetic, makes you actually care about her. Then it's just great to have Terry Silver. And they take this kind of ridiculous, over-the-top character from Karate Kid 3, and suddenly they make him this much more complex, interesting character that you understand that he's someone that's trying to grow and change and reflecting, but he really does have this dark side and can be tempted by Kreese. And whenever he lets that out, it goes really, really bad.
You just don't want to admit there's always been a little Cobra Kai in you.
Now, there's some things I wasn't entirely crazy about or has struggled a little bit. There are a lot of plot lines and characters going on, and so at times things get abandoned. Kenny, they do this big arc for a couple episodes, and then he disappears for like 5 episodes. And there's some stuff like that. There's some uneven characterizations and stuff that I thought was a little bit not very smooth. In particular, the Silver Kreese dynamic. But overall, just a great season that has so many incredibly satisfying moments and is able to turn a failure, are the good guys losing into the right conclusion to the season. But coming in first place for me is season 1. And I remember when they first announced this show, and I just rolled my eyes and like, ugh, another one of these cynical reboot remakes that's going to be absolutely awful. No one asked for this.
No! God, please, no! No!
And then it debuted, and I watched the first episode with my wife, and I was like, wait a minute, that was kind of good. And as it ended, my wife turned to me and she goes, are we going to watch the next episode? I want to see what's going to happen next. So we ended up signing up for YouTube Red and binged the whole season and went, that was actually really, really good. What a pleasant surprise. And I've now rewatched it at least 5 times. And somehow they managed to take what came off like an awful, lazy, cynical idea and turn it into this actually incredibly respectful continuation of the Karate Kid mythology that also happens to be really, really funny. So much of what makes this show work is that it continues the legacy of what happened in the original Karate Kid about this kid in need of a father and a father in need of a son. It takes that concept and does it wildly differently by using Johnny Lawrence as the new Mr. Miyagi. And Johnny Lawrence is no Mr. Miyagi.
Hey, brohams.
Want to score those hot babes? Try karate.
I mean, there's something truly incredibly satisfying about William Zabka returning to this role so much later in life and being an absolute legend as Johnny.
And you don't want to be a pussy. You want to have balls.
Don't you think you're doing a lot of genderizing?
What?
In particular, as you kind of get into the first half of the season, where it repeats a number of beats from the Karate Kid, except with Miguel and Johnny, it just leads to these incredibly satisfying moments, especially when Johnny takes out all the bullies in the cafeteria. It's one of the greatest moments of victory in this entire show. Another thing it does so well is that it always manages to have so much nuance to the characters, even though it's meant to be so, over the top and crazy and wild. There's always nuance to it of good characters have flaws, bad characters have good sides to them, and the drama and conflict comes from misunderstandings. It grows out of people's character flaws where they misunderstand something. They overreact to something in accordance with how they've been established up to that point in time. So the drama, the conflict feels earned, and it keeps sucking you in more and more. And of course, that dynamic between Johnny and Daniel, their wildly different interpretations of what happened back in 1984 and where they're at in life, it just leads to this continuation that makes sense. Probably for me, what puts this season on top is that it is the one that it's able to be the most simplistic. The cast is smaller. The stakes aren't quite as high. There's not as many moving parts or background or things that they have to write around. It can just be about that classic formula about these mentors trying to help these teenagers and just kind of the melodrama of all the misunderstandings. You can just focus in on that. And that's what makes it so good to me. And so many of Johnny's best lines are in this season.
So you can leave your asthma and your peanut allergies and all that other made-up bullshit outside. Is that understood?
This show means so much to me that it actually turned out so good.
We did it! We did it! All right!
And it all started with this season. So it comes in at number 1. If you enjoyed this video and you want more Cobra Kai and Karate Kid content, you can check it out in that playlist right over there. Likewise, if you're looking for a low-carb, no-sugar, high-protein cereal, check out Magic Spoon at the link down below in the description. I am a customer. I do enjoy Magic Spoon. I always keep it on hand at my house. Link is down below. Thank you so much for watching, and keep talking movies and TV too much. Bye-bye.